Up, everybody? It's your boy Ruben. I'm going to come to you new week, new video. I'm actually going to give you guys a couple videos today, so be on the lookout for the next one as well. But this first one, we're going to go ahead, and this one's going to be pretty much strictly for my Jags fans. They hired Urban Meyer, guys. I know a lot of people are happy about it. I'm not unhappy about it, but let me just kind of unpack a few things to give you kind of a idea of where my thoughts go. So for the casual fan, I get what they're doing here. Jacksonville is a kind of Jacksonville is pretty much a big college type of area, right? There's a lot of Florida fans here, and just full disclosure, I am a Florida State fan, but what I'm going to say has nothing to do necessarily with um, any kind of bias, right? Because I'm going to try to give it to you guys as straight as I can. I try to think from an unbiased place. Uh, I don't. Okay. Again, like I said, I'm going to unpack it live on camera for you guys. So you're going to see a lot of brainstorming going while I'm talking to you guys. So just bear with me. Urban Meyer, I don't have a problem with him. He's a great college coach, right? I'm not the biggest fan of watching college coaches try to make the jump to the NFL in general. A lot of failures, to include the greatest college coach, Nick Saban, failed miserably. Steve Spurrier failed miserably. Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly had potential, but you can argue that sort of the politics that got involved with that situation shot himself in the foot. We've seen multiple college coaches try to make the jump and fail. I know you could say, hey, well, look at Cliff Kingsbury. And I think that's kind of a unique scenario. I'm Are we really sure Cliff Kingsbury is that great a coach? I think he had a pretty decent offensive mind. He lucked into Kyler Murray. You know, he kind of chose a team that had the number one pick, got to convince them to dump Josh Rosen and pick up a phenom in Kyler Murray. And if you get you a good quarterback, a lot of times you're going to be all right. But are we sure he's a good coach yet? You know, I think the jury's still out on Cliff Kingsbury. I do like the direction Cardinals are going in. I'm just saying, food for thought. Is it, you know, look at the Panthers coach. Look at, I mean, they didn't do well. And again, you know, I know first year Giants coach, um, first year. You can go on and on. There's a list of college coaches that just didn't pan out. Now, I will say that I think if they are going to start making the jump and panning out, I think now is as good a time as ever, because I believe the NFL game is starting to transform more into a college-like system. Because for years they would say the option game wouldn't work in the NFL. You don't want to expose your quarterback to that and blah blah blah. And now we're seeing a lot of options. Lamar Jackson's changed the game a lot. Patrick Mahomes changed the game a lot. Look at Kyler Murray. Now it's all about mobility. The more you can do at quarterback. So as the game transitions, I think that's in favor of college coaches. So you can do a lot worse than hiring Urban Meyer. You know, if you were going to do it, you know, I would think Urban Meyer would be the best case scenario, especially for Jacksonville. Considering that he was the Florida coach, a lot of people love him here. It was a big splash for this area. It should be a big splash nationally in general. And, you know, with that being said, hopefully, considering we got the number one pick and Urban Meyer, I can't fathom, right? And then mind you, I think we played the Jets this year. I can't fathom that we don't get a damn nationally televised game this year, right? So there's the upside. But here's the unpacking part. I question, and I know a lot of fans probably don't care, they're just all about football. But I love my team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, which means I care about the kind of product they're going to put on the field. I question the kind of man Urban Meyer is. And by that, I mean this. I don't question his skills. He took a lot of teams worse to first. I think he was at Bowling Green in Utah. Um, and that, Florida was kind of down in the dumps before he took over. And they were a perennial powerhouse. And then he left, and then he went to Ohio State, right? But while he was at Florida, if you watch a lot of so for instance, I watched the Aaron Hernandez documentary, right? I've seen other documentaries that involve, that a couple Florida players have discussed their time at Florida, right? There were a lot of arrests at Florida at the time. And I get the impression that Urban Meyer did a lot to hide a lot of things from the media, right? Now, don't get it twisted. In the NFL, I'm sure there's a lot of teams that hide a lot of things. Think Antonio Brown. We didn't know how crazy he was until he left the Steelers. But me personally, I care about that type of thing, right? In Jacksonville, we're fighting for respect, right? So I guess my thing is, at what cost would you go to put a good product on the field, right? So let's say you get a lot of head cases here, and if we don't win, what's going to happen with Urban Meyer? Because at each stop, he seemed to kind of leave the organization in a little bit of disarray, right? So at Florida, Tim Tebow left. He started flirting with maybe going to the NFL at the time. Tebow left, and Aaron Hernandez left. Percy Harvin left. And I think he started thinking, I don't think, we're going to be as good this year. I think he tried it out for the year and said, man, this is about to blow. The culture he created, he didn't have the superstars he had the year before, combined with the culture he created. I think he saw it was about to blow, and he dumped the team. And that's exactly what happened. Florida went into the tank for quite some time. He disappeared citing health reasons, and I'm not saying that he didn't actually have health reasons, but the timing, curious, right? So then he goes to Ohio State, and same thing. Ohio State becomes a powerhouse. I mean, it's not like they weren't ever good, by the way. Ohio State's always recruited well, but he kind of got Ohio State back on the map in a big way. And then there was the claims that he kind of turned a blind eye to some abuse, dealing with, I think one of his coordinators. I think there was even some sexual assault allegations floating around. There was just scandal in general floating around at Ohio State, and then he left citing health reasons. So I don't know if I trust that kind of guy. The kind of guy that, he'll get his hands dirty, right? And then when the shit hits the fan, he kind of leaves. Instead of I'd like a man that, holds himself accountable, and leads by example, right? Now, I don't know all the intricacies of all those situations. Maybe I'm not going to even try to continue to speculate. That's just a little bit you can Google this stuff, right? Now, he's going to the NFL. That was just him dealing with teenagers. Now he's going to the NFL. He's going to be dealing with grown men. The good side of that is, right? He would seem to be a player's coach, which would do a lot for the culture in Jacksonville, considering coming off of the Tom Coughlin regime. And after the Tom Coughlin regime, we definitely became a no destination because there were several grievances filed here. It seemed like players hated it here. Dante Fowler spoken bad about the organization. Yannick Ngakoue spoken bad about the organization. Jalen Ramsey spoken bad about the organization. And so the flip side of that is I think people know Urban Meyer is the kind of coach that'll take care of you, right? Players coach. So I think it makes it a more attractive destination combined with the fact that we have a lot of money and a lot of draft picks. So we got a face, and then we got Trevor Lawrence, who should be the number one draft pick. So there's the good side of it. I illustrated a lot of the bad side of it. The bad side of it is this. What if it doesn't go well? How does Urban Meyer handle adversity? That's my question. Because he blows all that money that we got and we end up signing a bunch of bad deals, and then we end up having a whole bunch of issues behaviorally. Is he going to bounce? And then we're going to be stuck in a bad salary cap situation and having to rebuild again. Like, this city can't take another rebuild. It's been so we were just in the AFC Championship game like 3-4 years ago. It's been, prior to that, it feels like it's been like 2 decades since we were remotely relevant. It's been a problem here in Duval. We can't take it. This is the time to strike and make sure we make the right decisions now, because if any team can go worse to first, it's this team. We have all the ammunition to do it. So I'm hoping for the best. On the tail end of this video, I just want to, touch on my thoughts on Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Fields, because now that's going to come up because Urban Meyer is linked to Justin Fields because he supposedly recruited him, right? So Justin Fields was in Georgia, I believe, and then he transferred. So I'm not sure like how valid the whole he's linked to him thing is, but there is the prevailing thought that Ohio State, Urban Meyer's Ohio State, and I think Justin Fields personally has star potential. I like Trevor Lawrence. Full disclosure, I never fell in love with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, but I question if he's going to be a star. There's been plenty of situations where I felt like he was outstarred. I don't even know if that's the best way I would want to put it. So last year, they won the championship his freshman season. That's impressive because there's a lot of stock on this is a freshman. Imagine what he's going to do, going forward, right? Now, he's been to 2 back-to-back championships. First year, he beat Alabama. But what I will say is Alabama didn't field a very good defense that year. I mean, not to say that they sucked, but that was one of the worst Alabama defenses in, recent memory. So it's not like he toasted this just stellar defense. So there's that. But props to him. He won a championship his freshman season. Sophomore season, he ended up having to be faced with LSU, who had one of the better college teams that were loaded with NFL talent. Not expected for him to win. I still saw an NFL quarterback, but but looking at Joe Burrow, tell me Joe Burrow didn't look like a star, right? And I know a lot of people are like, well, look at the talent that was surrounding Joe Burrow. I get it. But you felt like you were looking at a star when you looked at Joe Burrow, and you versus looking at Trevor Lawrence and you just saw, oh, well, he's a really good quarterback. You saw a star. Fast forward to this last season, they lost to Ohio State. Again, I don't blame Trevor Lawrence. Clemson lost a lot of talent, even though they were favored against Ohio State. And Justin Fields, while hurt, looked like a star. Like, there's plenty of times that it just sort of feels like teams ramp it up against Clemson and Trevor Lawrence doesn't quite match that wow factor that you see coming from the other quarterback when they're because it's not like Clemson plays a whole lot of talent in the ACC, right? So when it's playoff time, you know, certain people look like stars against him while he just looks very good. And I was ready this year to give the mantle to Justin Fields. I was really hoping that Justin Fields was going to take the next step. But here's the thing. Trevor Lawrence is the most NFL ready quarterback in this draft. Okay. I mean, he makes all the throws. He doesn't have the rocket arm that Justin Fields has, right? But he has the ability to make all the throws. Think Peyton Manning, right? And I know everybody, oh, Peyton Manning is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. And Trevor Lawrence very well could be, because think Peyton Manning, and what if Peyton Manning had the ability to scramble? And that's what Trevor Lawrence gives you. He can make all the throws, plus the ability to scramble in a league where moving the quarterback around is a big deal. Okay, great. But what if he doesn't end up Peyton Manning? What if he ends up being Derek Carr, right? I like Derek Carr, but he's not changing life, right? You know, like he's okay. You can win with Derek Carr, but you got to have like certain pieces around him to make it happen. He's not a force multiplier, which is he's not a guy that elevates everybody's game. You see what I'm saying? Now, if Derek Carr's his floor, that's a great floor to have, because Justin Fields' floor is he can completely bust. Okay, he reminds me a lot of RG3. And RG3 was special his rookie season, and I thought if he didn't get hurt and if he went to a team that actually supported him, because it's been widely reported that Mike Shanahan didn't even want RG3. What could have been of RG3 if he had the support minus the injury? You know what I'm saying? Because RG3 looks special. And that's what a lot of what I see in Justin Fields. So the downside is he could have the floor of RG3 and end up being a backup. He could completely bust. But the upside is Justin Fields can turn into a rock star. And I'm not sure I see rock star in Trevor Lawrence. So those are just my thoughts. I think I'm ultimately hoping there's no reason Trevor Lawrence shouldn't go number one. He's the NFL. Excuse me. He's the NFL most NFL ready quarterback coming out. You take the safest quarterback. He's got no weaknesses for the most part. That last touchdown he threw under pressure before the wide receiver broke in a losing effort against Ohio State, I advise you to go look at it. That was an NFL throw. But Justin Fields, what if he turns into a rock star and you're looking at what if he turns into one of those quarterbacks that you're mentioning with Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, and you end up with the next Derek Carr? That's ultimately what I'm getting at. I'm sorry if he got a little long-winded there. But what if Trevor Lawrence turns into Peyton Manning? It's a lot of what ifs. So it should be a ride, and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy watching it. I think the Jaguars were in for some good things as long as we don't mess up some decisions. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I'm going to come at you with another video, let you know what I think about this weekend slate of playoff games, and comment down below. Give me your thoughts. Peace.